Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Starsector, Ashes of the Domain. Episode 47, Revisiting Ancient Survey. I think I have enough money to do another month of megastructure restoration. So, we're about half restored. And I am looking for... Oh, you know what? Hang on. No, stop. No, stop. Ah, I didn't mean to do that jump. I forgot that I have 2 missions around Tarshish left to be done, so I just burned a whole lot of fuel. I tried to hit the E-burn to like cancel out the jump, but I didn't do it in time. Oh well, idiot tax being paid. Alright, the other missions that I have here is... Let's go to the Barren World one first. Finding a barren world's a lot easier than finding a derelict ship. So because I'm mostly black market, almost exclusively to pirates and pathers, my relationship gets ruined doing that. Which means recovering my relationship with the other factions allows me to, it allows me to do legit trade with the other factions without interruption, while I can still smuggle to the factions that don't care for me. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Because it's important to remember that the colony, the money that I make from the colonies is heavily dependent upon the exports of those. So like, for instance, the artisanal farming makes $77,000 a month, but that's because I'm selling the goods that it makes to other factions. Through trade, which is, you know, above board and legal. So the vast majority of my monthly income is legal trade, which is important to remember. Which means I need to have trade partners with the other factions to be able to sell that stuff. Could I have so many tugs that I'd have 20 speed without sustained burn? I don't know, but the amount of fuel that you would use would be stupid, so I would never do it, to be blunt. You know, thank you for the resub. Tugs have, for their ship size, have really high fuel and supply requirements. So if you mouse over here, the ship's consuming fuel, the Paragons consume 10, and the tugs consume 4. So it's like, two tugs is nearly the cost of a Paragon. You wouldn't want just a fleet full of tugs. You'd be paying out the nose for fuel and supplies. And the same is true of the supply uses. The tugs use a fair bit as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there is also maybe a research station in this system too. I could be wrong about that, but I think I vaguely remember Nyx being pinged for, like, research. Ruins here. Come on. Ah, nothing. Damn. Oh, there's the sensor package. So now my relationship with the Persian League should be above 0. It is a whopping 3, but hey. It's the first time in a long time that that's been true. Pre-collapse facility. Yeah. While I'm here, might as well clear it. I have the fleet. The reason why, if you're wondering, I'm roaming around with such a large fleet, it's because the Hedge AI core inspectors, their fleets are pretty legit. They're not small. And if I didn't have a large fleet as a standard escort, their inspection fleets would just constantly be attacking me, which is annoying. So I'd rather just pay a little bit more for the fuel and supplies for a bunch of battleships than constantly be harassed by the Hedge inspectors, because that would be way worse. Because then subsequently would have either them damage the hell out of my fleets searching for AI cores, because when they search for AI cores, it's not a standard, like, picket, we're looking for, like, illegal goods. They, like, rip your ships apart. They reduce your combat readiness to, like, half. It's absurd. Or have to outwardly attack them. But if your fleet's big enough, you have a conversation option of, like, you're going to forcibly inspect my fleet. Yeah, you're not big enough for that, and they back down. So I have a big enough fleet so that they're literally just intimidated enough that they don't force an inspection. And I'm probably going to have a big fleet until the colony crisis event of the AA inspections are done. Hackboon, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the stream, dude. Whoa! My flux was high, and I got ambushed by Brilliant. Which is fine. I was ready. Brilliant might have punched a few grav beams off, but it's still gonna die. Bye-bye. Running a stealth fleet doesn't really work to avoid AI inspections because the AI inspectors will camp your colonies. So if you have a smaller stealth fleet, they're still going to catch you because they just sit on top of your, like, orbital stations. Now, with that said, because we do have star fortresses on every planet that we own, if they did jump us, they would still probably back down because the star fortress would aid us in defending our fleet, calculating that we have a larger fleet than they do. How much percentage of black market selling am I doing when trading with other factions? I don't have that information. I mean, the black market is trading heavy. It depends faction to faction. So I can estimate based upon what our exports of heavy armaments and organs and other things that are deemed illegal are. But like actual hard numbers is just plasma dynamo. Arb and Needler blueprint. So new blueprints that I hadn't had before. But unfortunately, not the biofactory amber that we were hoping for. So yeah, in trying to estimate black market dealings, like mousing over the biosynth laboratory of how, like... So Tarmarin's primary exports is organics and drugs. And exports this past month was about 217,000 in exports. As far as... which is about 70k in drugs. So because there's no one that takes drugs as non-black market, we can assume that, like, you know, 15% or something of Tarmarin's exports are black market exports. But I don't think that there's a screen that, like, summarizes your income based upon, like, illegal exports. You'd have to do the math, you know, going into the drop-down list and then, like, whipping out a calculator and figuring out total exports. And even then, not all factions believe in this. Like, some factions have heavy armaments as illegal, some don't. So you don't even necessarily know where those heavy armaments are going, so you don't know whether or not they were black market heavy armaments or white market heavy armaments. You just have to guess. But if you want the full breakdown for exports, you can get it in the income screen, but you don't, because you don't know where they're being sold, it's hard to say for certain whether they were illegal or not. And every faction has their own things that are illegal. So Hedge has organs, armaments, and rec drugs are illegal. Rec, Harvest, Lux, so on and so forth. But then some, like pirates, have nothing illegal. So we could be selling organs to the pirates on their non-black markets. I wouldn't know. Ah, ruins. with nothing again. You're killing me! I keep getting like ruins. So this world is, how good was it? Oh, it's a pretty good world. Adequate farmland, common organics, with no transphotonic ore. It does have extreme weather, which means it's fullerene spool proof, and it has poor light, but its hazard rating isn't terrible. Okay, so the missions that I had for the Personal League are done. Let's go back to the core worlds and try to pick up Sindrian missions. To try to make Sindri a little bit happier with us. Okay, definitely time to pause the Pluto mining. Again. How far did we get? 66, so 2/3 done. If I had chosen for myself to just smuggle a bunch of things into the core system to make money, we could do the Pluto restoration a little bit faster. But I think this is worth doing because our research tree is bottlenecked by the lack of a biofactory embryo. And again, just a reminder, the reason why. The research that I have left is mega assembly systems, which requires catalytic core and combat drone. I have neither of those. The domain blueprint standardization requires pristine nanoforge and biofactory embryo and synchrotron core. I have the ability to make the nanoforge and the synchrotron core. In fact, I already have synchrotron cores. I don't have a biofactory embryo, but the advantage of unlocking this is it gives me the blueprints for all the other colony items, which means if I get a biofactory embryo, I can get all the remaining research tree stuff. It just all is contingent on getting that biofactory embryo. With that said, I should probably just start making the other pristine nanoforge. Because I know I'm going to need it eventually. Because I don't have a spare. Wrong gravity well. Ooh, look at that fleet. Ouch! That is a big fleet. Next to another big fleet. I mean, if they wanted to attack Nabla, they'd have to attack 4 Paragons, a Star Fortress, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Auroras, 1, 2, 4 Furies. I mean, Nabla's pretty well protected. That's good to see. Alright, I got more beta cores. At this point, like, I have enough beta cores. I'm sure I could, like, assign them where they would do the more good. But to save time, I'm just gonna slap them everywhere. Let's put the dynamo away, the research away, the blueprints away. And then black market the rest, or open market the rest at Dolio before heading back into the core worlds. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna jump into the core worlds. Looking for work. If I'm doing that, I might want to smuggle in if there's demand. Kanta wants the volatiles. Epiphany wants drugs. Chasseldon wants drugs. Kanta probably wants organs. Chasseldon wants heavy armaments. So this is just pay the bills a little bit. They both want Marines. Everyone always wants fuel. And Chasseldon wants supplies. Okay. So quick smuggle run. Just to bolster our budget. And then we'll look for more missions to help with finding what we need. which is the biofactory embryo for research missions, or at this point, maybe after this smuggle run, I'm going to go after survey ships and motherships, because survey ships can lead to motherships. Motherships might give us the biofactory embryo that we want, so I'm going to try that path, unless good Syndrian missions pop up, which I doubt they will. Is Lux goods no good for smuggling? So most of what I'm smuggling, most of the things that I'm smuggling just because there's 3 systems with high demand next to one another. It's more of a convenience thing, more than what's best to sell. I'm just trying to smuggle quickly, not high volume. And the Kanta's Den, Epiphany, and Chanceldon pretty much always have the same demands every month because they don't have any supply. So I can do a quick smuggle run to make like 1 million without much effort. And the biggest things when considering smuggling is the buy price and the sell price. So like I bought these heavy armaments for 500, I'm selling them for 732 per unit. So some things just aren't worth smuggling because their price difference isn't great enough. Whereas like for these heavy machinery, I bought at like 150, I'm selling at almost twice the cost. And I'm selling lots of them. Oh, they don't want drugs anymore, but I'm going to sell them anyway. So, I had 500k. I withdrew 500k from my stockpile, and I turned 500k into 1,800k-ish. And it took me, like, what, a few minutes? You know? It was really quick. And that's what I'm going for. I'm not trying to, like, min-max my smuggling, I'm just trying to make a quick buck. Because I'm not a smuggler, I'm a domain empire builder. So I don't want to spend a lot of time smuggling. Alright, if we are going after survey ships, where is the first one that we're going to look for? Exploration. So I'm going to start clearing out some of the old data entries that I don't care about. Keeping really only mining stations, like, salvageable things. I don't care about a supply cache. So we have, Gamma Vigri, which is actually really close to Tarmarin and Raveno, has a survey ship. But I don't need 3 locations for that. And then Beta Sucrolari, or whatever, has also survey ship. There's also one at Beta Paratartari that we'll check out. Mothership location up here too. So there's a survey and mothership. That's good to know. And then a mothership down here, Alpha Nova Lambedi or whatever. So we'll go down there as well. So we have a lot of information about good points of interest to be able to clear. Awesome. I am, before I leave, going to take a few more monitors. And let's, also I'll take a fuel ship, just so that I don't have to refuel as often. Knowing that I'm going against a bunch of, I'm not really surveying anymore. I'm going to put, cargo bays back in the mega freighters. And now, top my fuel off. And let's go. How's the colony crisis progressing? Pretty slow. I mean, 21 per month, so it's going to take a while. It's probably not going to be this stream. Oh, speaking of which, I am going to quickly save and exit to reboot, because the game's getting a little chunky. Needs a memory leak refresh. So we'll head to Delta Vigri first. Oh, actually, Alpha Novo has one of those ships and also a gate. And there it is, the mothership. And I'm continuing the Pluto mining restoration again. Alright, here's the mothership. So we have a, the mothership itself and a whole bunch of ramparts. What pilot? Oh, you. Okay. One of the crew in my fleet isn't level 5, so can definitely invest in them leveling up a bit. So the mothership, I think this is the first mothership I'm destroying. It's kind of like an, you know, like an orbital station. It's just a little weaker, but it functionally acts like an orbital station, like a crappy orbital station. Very easy to blow up. This is not so much a hard fight, it's more that they just have a deep roster of enemies. They've got numbers. The Pluto mining station acts more or less like a planet that produces refined metals. But it's mostly just, its main purpose, as far as Ashes of the Main goes, is to supply megastructure reconstruction efforts, I think. Which is also why I'm getting it. Bye-bye, mothership. So much debris. I was not kidding when I said I designed my flagship to be a fly spotter. True. The reason I went with this design is there tends to be a lot more flies than there are, big ships that are hard to kill. Right, like battleships in an enemy fleet tends to make up like less than 10% of their ships. So I have my other ships in the fleet designed to kill big things effectively. And they can fly swat too, but not quite at the speed that I can. And the reason I designed fly swatter is a lot of the times whether you win or lose is heavily dependent on whether you get swarmed. Most of the fleet fights that I tend to lose, I lose because they just had so many small ships swarm us that there's no time to ever dump your flux. So I'm a fly swatter so that we don't get swarmed. And I think it works really well. Oh, those are some good cores. No blueprints, but good cores. Wow, that's a lot of experience. And Way Vernacular leveled up, which is good. Hey, a pristine Anaforge. Okay, in that case, production. Cancel. Let's not bother making another forge. Alright, that site is cleared. Time to enter the next one. Yeah, motherships are essentially discount stations. I guess you could think of it as... I think in the game's lore, the motherships were deploying the survey ships and deploying the probes, basically trying to survey the entire galaxy. So they're not combat ships, which is why they're just easy to squish. Alright, exploration... So we've got a survey ship here and a survey ship in this system. Oh no, in an adjacent in Gamma Vigri. Okay. New survey. Oh, this is a probe. Really? You're gonna make me fight it? Fine. I'm just gonna use a bunch of fast movers so that you can stomp them fast. I forgot to level up Way Vernacular too. Half their fleet rolled up on me, and I was just like, dead. Reminds me of Stargate when the Odin class ships like rolled off the line, and the Goa'uld were just getting like laser smoked. I almost wish that I had reckless pilots in the Auroras, because I think they would benefit from reckless or aggressive captains. They're almost a little too conservative, but they probably stay alive a lot better given their steady pilots. More gamma cores. And what I was hoping is... Okay, this led to another survey ship location. Because sometimes survey ships will lead to other survey ships. Sometimes they will lead... so this was a probe, but sometimes they lead to other locations. So you can essentially destroy the small fries to search for big fries. So there should be a survey location here. And it's in the outer reaches. Right? Yeah. So let's poke around the... Oh, I forgot to grab the debris. Let's poke around the outer reaches and see that if I can find where that is. Nothing like a good Stargate reference? I do like me some Stargate. Indeed. Did I find it? No, worst case scenario, I could try to get a... Oh, yeah, I found it. The biofactory embryo from raiding another planet. I'd prefer not to go that route, if I could help it. But my patience will eventually wear out at some point. I just don't want to have to deal with the fallout from, like, stomping another faction for their science. It's not exactly a nice thing to do. Well, this is a big solar system. But the service ship is already... Oh, no, that's a probe. So the survey ship is supposed to be in a ring system in the outer reaches. Oh, God, that's a huge ring. Oh, no. Needle in a stack of needles. Just my favorite. Oh, man, I keep forgetting to level up that pilot. Poor pilot. What's the best, in my opinion, of SG-1, Atlantis, or Universe? So, a lot of people really hated Universe. I didn't hate Universe, but it felt a lot more like Battlestar Galactica than it felt Stargate. It's not to say that I disliked it, but I don't think it deserved the hate that it got. With that said, I think the classic SG-1 with O'Neill is probably the best, but I did like Atlantis, parts of it. I just, the cast wasn't as strong, in my opinion. But the concept was pretty solid. SGU was definitely a departure from the other shows. It was. I don't think it was bad, though. I remember at the time a lot of people hated it and thought it was, like, an affront to Stargate. And I think if they tried to reboot Stargate and just have more of the same old Stargate, it would have been worse. So I didn't mind what SGU was trying to do. And I think, honestly, it ended prematurely, but some of that was just the fact that, like, I lost faith in, when sci-fi became sci-fi, things kind of went to hell. So it's less about Stargate and more about, like, I no longer recognize the Sci-Fi Channel as what it could or should be, I guess. But that's true of, like, almost all TV channels, if I'm honest. Like, the Discovery Channel or the History Channel, like, all the channels that used to be good isn't. The Learning Channel, oh my god, yeah. The Learning Channel is now Exploiting Minorities Channel, or something, you know. It's like the old Circus Freaks channel. The way this circus would have, like, medical oddities. Like, that's what TLC channel seems to be now. I don't watch network TV really at all. I don't have cable. I have no desire to watch cable. You know, if, I'll put it this way. If there's a cable TV show that I want to watch, I don the black flag. I fire up my, my VPN and find the shows myself. SGU was pretty cool, just different. Yeah, exactly. It was pretty cool, just different. It really reinvented itself. And actually, I really liked the cast. I really didn't mind the cast and the concept that they were going for. Of, like, a research mission gone awry. And in a way... Oh, there it is. In a way, it kind of felt like, a bit like Star Trek, maybe? A mix of, like, Deep Space Nine and Battlestar-ish. Had features in it. I don't know. It was more reminiscent of that. Alright, so that service ship sucked. I think the next best place for us to go to is Beta Suroclair, or whatever it's called. Way up there. Amazon now owns Stargate. Yeah, Amazon. So it's funny. Like, I'm non-employee compensated Amazon person, right? Because I am on Twitch, right? Amazon rescued The Expanse, which I was very happy about, because The Expanse was an amazing show, and it was going to die, and essentially Bezos was like, I don't want it to die, I like it too much, and kept it going. And I think it's one of the best sci-fi shows in the last 20 years, since Firefly, maybe. Like, it really blew me away. But then there's a lot of other Amazon shows that I think are just like, they fall flat pretty hard. So when Amazon buys things up, it might do it justice, or it might completely ruin it. And it's really hard to say which will be true. So with that in mind, it's like, I'm glad the IP isn't dead, but it's not to say that it's anything good is going to happen to the IP. All right. What was it doing? It was exploration of the mothership. It's a beta something or another. I don't know how to say that. It's right next to Gamma and Yang, so that should be pretty easy to get to. Yeah, right now they're making the 40K show with what, Cavill, I think? I am super worried about that. I think a lot of the, in my opinion, a lot of shows and movies adapted to video games and video games adapted to shows and movies suck. There are exceptions, of course. Like, I was recently playing Return to Moria, which I think is one of the exceptions. It's a really solid game. But in a lot of cases, when there's adaptations like that, they fall so hard flat that you're like, oh god, why? So I think there's a chance to have a really good 40K show. My concern about it is more the fact that, like, I guess The Boys did it pretty well. I don't want to get too political, but when you're depicting the 40K universe, it honestly is really grim and really racist, to be blunt. And I feel like it's very possible to have the fandom think it's pro-racism in the same way that, like, some people loved Homelander and were like, Homelander's a hero. It's like, no, he's the villain. He was always the villain. If you don't see him as the villain, you're like a fascist bootlicker, right? And my worry with 40K is it will turn political in that way, in the same way that, like, The Boys did. But it's fantasy. It's not supposed to be like that. And that's my concern with adapting things that are potentially political, because I don't want it ruined by the fact that people misinterpret what it's supposed to be about. To put it bluntly. And there's definitely a lot of cases where there were, you know, I feel like if The Matrix was done in modern times, people were like, oh, The Matrix is, like, so pleasant and nice, I want to be jacked into it. It's like, no, that's not the point. You're not supposed to give up your freedoms in that way. So, I don't know. We'll see. Alright. Where is the mothership? It is some distance away from the center in an asteroid field. So maybe it's this one? I mean, yeah, everything could be seen through a political lens. It's just Warhammer is a fantastic universe, but a very dark and grim one too. And, like, I don't think anyone should be romanticizing about it as a result, because it's not, like, romantically nice. Ooh, 96. Okay, so I'm going to continue restoration to the Optic Command Nexus here, because we'll get it done partway through the month and not go bankrupt. Okay, I don't see any motherships here. So I'm going to survey this cluster. There is the survey ship over there that I can swing by. So we'll see. I hope for the best for it. But knowing what happened to The Witcher was like awesome, awesome, terrible. You know what I mean? I'm hoping that, and especially given the same actor, right? I'm hoping that they don't do the same thing to Warhammer. Of like, let's I think what happened to The Witcher was they basically wanted to dumb it down so that the show was more accessible to the average plebeian, which ruined it. And if they do that to Warhammer, it's going to ruin it too. So that's my concern with those kind of IPs, is trying to explain like The Witcher's lore succinctly is difficult. It's not impossible, right? Like Lord of the Rings is a testament to that, because Lord of the Rings is super, super complicated, but yet the films did it justice because it explained what it needed to explain. It didn't bother trying to explain everything, because God knows that would be the longest movies in history, and it did it justice. And I think there's a possibility for video game adaptations to do just that in the same vein. They just have to have the right direction. Thank you for watching Starsector Ashes of the Domain, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow captains.